Good evening, everyone. We're going to start tonight with a work session, and we are just about on time which doesn't happen that often. Can I have a motion to go into work session?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Ed, I feel like this is you, starting us off on the proposed local law.
Yeah, this is the local law that the board workshopped at its last meeting. There haven't been any changes to the draft legislation, so I don't know that there's any need for discussion tonight on it. There's a resolution in the consent agenda to set the public hearing and to make the referrals.
Okay, the only thing I wanted to point out, because I was trying to write it in the supervisor's report last week, and we couldn't figure out the right wording to say it succinctly. This is not like dungeon apartments. These are actually street level apartments. It's just that it's below the main street level. So if it's on a hill, if you think of it like a walkout basement, it's sort of the same. Actually, that's a good way of saying it. It's kind of like walkout basement apartments. So that's what this meant to be, not ones that are, only have one egress. These are really walkout apartments. So I wanted to just put that out there so anyone who wants to comment on this law just understands what we're talking about.
Okay.
All right, any questions for Ed or anyone? Okay. So moving on to just some administrative items you wanted to discuss, Joe?
Right, so we've got a whole list of administrative items and I'm happy to go through them with the board. The first one is the payment of claims. The second one is a tax certiorari proceeding involving the Whippoorwill Club. And that it's sort of unusual in that we're actually gonna do, because of the timing of it, we're going to do refunds this year, which is something that we haven't had to do that frequently. And it is sizable in the fact that the Whippoorwill Club covers a multitude of jurisdictions. It's both North Castle and Newcastle, several school districts. It covers 6 years, and the refund for the town will be sizable. It's about $79,000. The next is an award of the RFP for the inspection of the HVAC maintenance agreement. Bart Carey, our Commissioner of Public Works, is recommending that the award go to Carey and Walsh. And it's gonna be for a 3-year contract with 2 one-year extensions, and it's an annual lump sum of $9,733. They're the lowest bidder. Next is authorization to accept a bid of shared services for solid waste services with buildings owned by Chappaqua Central School District and the town. So this is just another one of the governor's initiatives from years ago that we have continued. It's worked out very well for us. Chappaqua Central School District actually prepares the RFP. It's for school buildings as well as our commercial refuse districts. So this covers the commercial refuse districts of South Greeley and also Allen Place. And it's actually the price is held the same, which is pretty fabulous considering what a huge hit we had in refuse. And it's for an annual cost of $63,960. That's gonna be a 1-year contract.
Okay.
Great.
The
Jill,
next
Jill,
is,
sorry, real quick,
Sure.
probably goes without saying, but the Carey and Walsh, no relation to Bart, right?
oh no.
Good.
Sorry, didn't even pick up on that.
Just wanted to clarify,
No.
in case John was asking.
I think he would wish that there was, but no. Let's see, the next is authorization to approve the East of Hudson installation. It's for the channel stabilization for Court Mill. I've actually got Sabrina on hold if the board needs any clarification. Hey Sabrina, thanks for joining us. On this particular administrative item, the project is supported by both the East of Hudson and the Army Corps of Engineers. There's significant erosion on Court Mill. And as an East of Hudson community, we are responsible for the elimination of 50 kilograms of phosphorus per year. And this actually is a credit to us of 22.67 grams. And basically, if you don't have projects that reduce the 50 kilograms of phosphorus annually, you end up having to make a monetary contribution. So every project that we can generate that reduces our phosphorus reduction means that it reduces our out-of-pocket expenditure to the cause. How'd I do, Sabrina?
You did really well. The town is part of what's considered umbrella compliance. So while our individual contribution is 50 kilograms per year, that is meshed with all of the other New York City watershed municipalities' contributions. So by having a project in our town, it gives us the ability to maintain that project, and then we would have a credit given to us towards our obligation under the stormwater permit. And it's worth noting that we usually do not see projects in Newcastle because the cost of the projects are much more expensive. So this is a unique situation where we are able to do a channel stabilization where we get a very high phosphorus removal rate for very little contribution, monetary contribution. So it works out well in the sense that we are getting what we consider a big bang for the buck.
Great. Any questions? Okay. Thank you, Sabrina. Appreciate you joining us.
Thank you.
The next is authorization to attend the New York State Appraisers Association Conference, and this is for Josh Herman. It's his annual training up at Cornell, and it's from July 17th to the 22nd. And it comes with a not to exceed of $1,600. The next is authorization to install assisted listening systems, ALS, in both Town Hall and Chappaqua Performing Arts Center. So in this room, we actually have never installed something called an assisted listening system. It is an enhanced audio system that actually works with hearing aids, and for those people who have other audio devices. It's a copper system that wires the room, and I don't know if you guys have ever been on these, tours where you see them, walking through Europe years ago. They have like little flags and everybody's listening to their little hearing things. This enables you to bypass that and actually works with people's hearing aids when they're wearing them to enhance the sound so that everybody can hear. If you don't have that, it does enable you to listen through a headset. It's part of our ADA compliance, and we're very anxious to have it installed in both this room, because it's something that we've lagged behind on, and also at the Chappaqua Performing Arts Center. Again, helping with our ADA compliance. So let me see, the cost for Town Hall is $9,300, and the cost for the Chat Pack is just shy of $12,000. I wish it was $1,200.
Yeah, that's a big difference in wages.
Yeah, I know, sorry. Yeah. 1,000. Okay.
Great.
Let's see, the next is authorization to approve the IMA with Westchester County. The Ricky system is when you're running someone's criminal history. Any questions? Yes, Jeremy?
You run his criminal history pretty
Let's
well.
say you have to give context here.
Wait a second. Sorry, let me
That was a
clarify.
little much.
In his day job, professionally, he sometimes reviews these, and so for other people.
You don't wanna know.
Yeah,
It's good to clarify.
sorry. Anyway, and last but not least, the proclamation in honor of the monarch butterflies. Do you wanna talk about it a little bit?
Sure, it's just in our effort to kind of help our pollinator pathways, and last week or the week before we formally became a bee city to help protect our bees. These are similar, but to protect monarch butterflies, which are also great pollinators, and they are in danger as well. So it requires that we commit to doing at least a minimum of 3 items to help protect them, including proclamations, planting milkweed, other things like that. So I thought it was a great idea, and one other thing we can do to help our environment. Any questions?
No, I think it's wonderful, and it is very consistent with the Bee City effort, so I love it, I think it's great.
So that's all for our work session, and then sorry, I just wanted to mention one thing, and that's there will be something on your agenda next week for Sustainable Westchester. They had an issue with the memorandum of agreement that we signed collectively with other communities in that their initial bids came in too high. We knew they would be high, we didn't realize that they would be this high. So it actually requires the board put in a not to exceed, a higher not to exceed number. So that'll be on your agenda next week, and if the board has any questions, I can bring what Sustainable Westchester in. Otherwise, they gave us a pretty substantial memo explaining what the issues were and how they were gonna resolve it. Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. All right, can I have a motion to adjourn our work session? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And can I have a motion to open our town board meeting?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, welcome everybody to our town board meeting. We are right on time for Tuesday, April 26th, 2022, our last one in April. We are going to start off, Jill, do you have any announcements?
Two quick ones, actually, Christina, you wanna do the text one?
Oh, sure.
Just put your microphone on.
So just a reminder that town taxes are due. The last day to pay them without penalty is actually May 2nd this year. We'll be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So if you, as opposed to your bank, are responsible to pay your taxes, please come in. We'd love to see you. If it's more convenient, we have a drop box located downstairs. The lobby's open 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's locked and it's right in front of the police desk on a camera, so it's very secure and much easier actually than the post office.
And we also take post-dated checks, so.
We certainly do, yeah, we hold post-dated checks. So you could come in with your check dated for May 2nd and we won't deposit until that date.
Perfect. All right, thank you.
Last but not least, we have a confidential paper shredding event this Saturday. It's from 10 to 1 down at the recycling center, that's Joan Corwin Way, and it's for residents only, so please have your driver's license with you. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Also, Saturday's town cleanup day. So for those of you who are complaining that we've seen some trash on the side of the road, now is your day to pick up some gloves and some orange trash bags and clean up our town, do your part. You can sign up online, this will be in the supervisor's report, to kind of claim a spot, but in town specifically, but you don't have to, you can also clean up roads in your neighborhoods as well. Okay, so right before this meeting, the reason we were a little late is our town Holocaust and Human Rights Committee had a very moving Yom HaShoah Holocaust Remembrance Ceremony. I wanna thank everyone from town staff to our rec department to the Holocaust and Human Rights Committee, the Greeley Enough Club for putting on what ended up being on Zoom. It was supposed to be in person, but it ended up being an incredibly moving event. So I wanted to thank you all for doing that tonight. And I'm gonna hold the rest of my supervisor's report. You can all read about it tomorrow. I'm sure you're waiting anxiously. But we do want to announce our community corner because we had a lot of parents writing in who wanted us to wish a formal happy birthday to their adorable children. First, we have a happy birthday to Daniel Fioretti, who has turned 15 on April 14th. A happy birthday to Amelia Bello, who turned 4 on April 17th. Happy birthday to Selena Thomas, who turned 10 yesterday. And Marbella Lucas will turn 9 on April 30th. And a happy birthday to Grayson Dixon, who will become a teenager on May 1st. And then in addition to parents, we also had a very happy husband who wanted us to wish a happy 40th birthday to his wife, Alyssa Barron. So happy birthday. And I love announcing these, and we actually got some pictures this week of very happy kids sitting in front of the sign with their names on it. So it's just one way to kind of bring community and a sense of just being there for each other back to town. So again, if you ever have announcements, please email us at communitycorner@mynewcastle.org. All right, moving to the town administrator report.
I have nothing.
Nothing, okay. In that case, we're gonna open it up for public comment, new business. If all the people here have anything to say, feel free to come up. All right, Carrie, is there anyone online?
Just ask if anybody is interested to raise their hand.
If anyone is interested, please raise your digital hand if you're online.
I don't see any.
All right, well then, I think we're gonna move right to our resolutions. Just note that we are taking out the Whippoorwill Club authorization to settle the tax certiorari proceedings out of the consent agenda. Because I believe there is a board member who would like to recuse himself from that vote. All right, does anyone want to start with the consent agenda items? Chris?
Sure. I move to adopt the consent agenda as submitted, consisting of the following. Adoption of monthly reports March, authorization to hire McCarthy Finger LLP 2022. Authorization to attend conference administration, authorization to amend contract Nikki Jones Agency, authorization to extend contract for 2021, 2022, 2023 PKF O'Connor Davies, authorization to purchase water minerals DPW, resolution in support of the town of Newcastle's contract execution for electric vehicle charging infrastructure cost reimbursement from Con Ed's Make Ready program. Authorization to settle 2016.
Nope, that one's coming out. Skip that one.
You just said that. Authorization to award RFP for inspection HVAC maintenance agreement MWTP. Authorization to accept CCSD bid number B2022-03 solid waste services for buildings owned by CCSD and the town. Authorization to set a public hearing on a local law concerning apartments below street level in the BR and BRP districts. Authorization to approve East of Hudson installation agreement for channel stabilization, Court Mill. Authorization to attend NYSAA conference, Assessor. Authorization to install assisted listening systems in Town Hall and Chappaqua Performing Arts Center. Authorization to approve IMA with Westchester County for the RICI system.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Would you like me to continue?
Would you like me to? Payment of claims. I move to approve the payment of claims in the amount of $932,159.03 listed on this summary, pre-check writing report and voucher detail report, both dated April 22nd, 2022. Checks will be cut and mailed to each claimant listed.
Aye.
I move to authorize the hiring of Nelson Santana to the position of 4th grade police officer within the Newcastle Police Department at the annual salary of $73,573 effective May 23rd, 2022, or the date Westchester County approves the resignation/reinstatement.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and welcome to town.
I authorize the hiring of Eric Johnson to the position of 4th grade police officer within the Newcastle Police Department at the annual salary of $73,573 effective May 23rd, 2022, or the date Westchester County approves the resignation reinstatement.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and welcome to town again.
Welcome to town. I move to authorize the hiring of Matthew Colomares to the position of seasonal laborer within the Department of Public Works Highway Unit for a period of 10 to 12 weeks at the hourly rate of $18 per an hour, effective May 16th, 2022.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I move to authorize the hiring of Kavana Lately as the part-time availability recreation attendant to serve as the manager to our EPIC Ambassador Program at the Chappaqua Performing Arts Center at the hourly rate of $30 per an hour, effective April 27th, 2022.
I'm sorry, there's a mistake. That's $35
Yeah,
an
I
hour.
thought that was what you said.
Second.
35.
35. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Vicky, why don't you do the next one?
Okay. I move to authorize the reappointment of Ted Holmes and Ivan Alter as members of the Environmental Review Board for a three-year term effective retroactively to January 1, 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to adopt the following resolution. Whereas Arbor Day was first observed in 1872 with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed through the nation and the world, and whereas 2022 is the 150th anniversary of National Arbor Day, whereas trees are a renewable resource and help to reduce erosion, moderate temperature, lower heating and cooling costs, clean the air, and provide habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees in Newcastle increase property value, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community, and whereas trees, wherever they're planted, are a source of joy and renewal, now therefore be it resolved that the town board in Newcastle proclaims Friday, April 29th, 2022, as 2022's Arbor Day in the town of Newcastle, and be it further resolved that the town board urges all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day, to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands, and to plant and care for those trees in furtherance of the happiness and well-being of this and future generations.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh,
Jeremy, go.
sure. So to paraphrase it, if I can do so, Ed, instead of going through the whole thing. Super. This is to adopt the following, move to adopt the following resolution regarding the NYSERDA State Energy Research and Development Authority stretch code for 2020. There was an issue previously about the enforcement of this code that made it unenforceable as previously drafted. This is amending that prior code and replacing it, but in substance it is the same code. So whereas the town board wishes to amend Chapter 62 of the Energy Code, the town board also wishes to repeal the amendments to the Green Building Code, Chapter 74, Section 13 of the Town Code of Newcastle. There was a public hearing held on April 5th of 2022, whereas the town board has determined that the proposed legislative action is an unlisted action pursuant to Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law of the State of New York. Whereas the town board as lead agency has completed the secret process and determined there will be no significant impacts. Now therefore be resolved that the town board, in accordance with Article 8 of the State Environmental Conservation Law, 6 NYCRR Part 617, and upon review of the EAF and other materials prepared for the unlisted action, hereby adopts the attached negative declaration. May it further be resolved that the town code of the town of Newcastle hereby enacts the annexed law to amend Chapter 62 Energy Code to reflect changes that clarify that the town of Newcastle Energy Code consists of the 2020 ECCCNYS as modified by New York Stretch, which is more stringent than the 2020 NYCECC, and repeal amendments to the Green Building Code of the town of Newcastle. Be further resolved, the town clerk of the town of Newcastle is hereby directed to publish the following notices of adoption as reflected below. And I think that should be it. That's sufficient, Ed?
That'll do it.
Can I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Lisa, may I say one thing?
Yes.
So I just wanted to clarify, I had asked a number of questions over the last few weeks about this. I understand the board adopted it in the fall and, the point was that circumstances had changed, we were forced to revisit it. And under the circumstances, wanted to at least have a discussion about adding additional costs for, a period of time where the state of New York, hasn't imposed this stricter code. When building costs are probably far in excess of inflation right now, and adding those additional costs, given this short window of time. But I think for me the biggest, factor that persuaded me was the fact that we do have Chappaqua Crossing, that's 91 townhomes, and I appreciate that comment from the Sustainability Advisory Board, as well as Jeremy when he mentioned that at one of our last meetings. Number one, and number two, the board passed this in the fall, so our job is not to come in and revisit decisions that were made recently. We didn't I didn't certainly campaign on that idea. But I want to clarify for the record that I think it was important for us to have that discussion. We had been told we would be getting additional information from NYSERDA, which I don't think we did. But given the circumstance where we do have Chappaqua Crossing and a massive retail development, I think it's important to adopt this now. So I just wanted to put that on the record.
Great, thank you. Okay, next resolution?
This is, sorry.
The
Butterflies.
moratorium. Oh, the butterflies.
You go, Mark? Sure. Authorization to adopt a local law enacting no, that's the moratorium, sorry.
Oh, you can do the moratorium, whichever
I'll
one
do the
you so
moratorium.
choose.
Authorization to adopt a local law enacting a moratorium for the North Greeley corridor. I move to adopt the following resolution. Whereas on March 15, 2022, the town board introduced a proposed local law enacting a 6-month moratorium on the review of new land use applications for site plan approval, special permit approval, variance relief, building permits, and sign permits pertaining to properties located in the North Greeley corridor as identified on the map annexed to the proposed local law. Whereas the town board believes that the moratorium is necessary to preserve the status quo while it crafts new zoning legislation for the North Greeley corridor. And whereas maintaining the status quo will protect the public interest and welfare, ensure consistency with new zoning requirements, promote community planning values by regulating land development based on a carefully considered plan, and prevent potential applicants from seeking approvals before new conditions and requirements are established. And whereas the town board held a public hearing on the moratorium on April 5th, 2022 and accepted written comments until April 18th, 2022 at 12 p.m., at which times all those wishing to comment on the moratorium had an opportunity to be heard. And whereas by letter dated April 6, 2022, the Newcastle Planning Board expressed its unanimous support for the moratorium. And whereas the adoption of the moratorium is a type 2 action pursuant to the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and accordingly no further environmental review is required. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board hereby adopts the moratorium and directs the town clerk to transmit a copy of same to the Westchester County Planning Board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I oppose for the reasons I previously stated, and I would add that the county planning board also is in opposition to this moratorium. I still have not heard what, if anything, has changed since the majority was strongly opposed to this moratorium, so I have registered my opposition.
Okay, thank you. Before we move to the next resolution, I just wanted to make a quick statement about this moratorium. Since we now voted the supermajority of the board to extend the moratorium on North Greeley Avenue for 6 months, I just wanted to briefly discuss a few related items. First, I'm looking forward to our next joint meeting with our planning board to discuss North Greeley. I thought that our first joint work session, which we held on March 1st, 2022, was very productive and generated many positive ideas. And I've spoken with the chairman of the planning board about scheduling, and we are aiming for sometime, hopefully early next month, as soon as we can get it on the calendar, Jill. In the meantime, I do know that the planning board also has been setting aside time at its public meetings to discuss the rezoning of North Greeley, and I want them to know that we really appreciate all of their efforts. I think we all, even those opposing the moratorium tonight, can agree that North Greeley Avenue is the street that is most in need of revitalization in the downtown Chappaqua Hamlet. With the support of my fellow board members, I intend to ask to hold public engagement sessions with residents to review the planning goals of the comprehensive plan, whether with Pace Land Use Center or another facilitator. It's been nearly 5 years since the comprehensive plan was adopted, and a lot has happened in that time, including a global pandemic. So I think it's important that we remind ourselves of the principal goals laid out in that plan. These public engagement sessions also will brainstorm general wants and needs of our residents, as well as the community's appetite for various zoning options. I want to be clear that we will initially be focusing only on North Greeley Avenue and not the full 72-acre hamlet. Because much of North Greeley is privately owned, we will have much less latitude to drive development, but we will revisit our overall goals together as a community. This will be a great first step toward creating a true vision for other areas of the Chappaqua and Millwood hamlets. Thank you. All right, and last resolution for tonight. Oh, I think there's actually one more after this.
Well, that was great, Lisa. I think that's a fantastic idea. I'm excited to see what we can do with the community to figure out the way forward. Okay, proclamation in honor of monarch butterflies. I move to adopt the following resolution. Whereas the town of Newcastle is home to many native plants and pollinator species, including the majestic monarch butterfly, which has sadly experienced massive population losses over the past few decades. And whereas the town of Newcastle recognizes that human health ultimately depends on well-functioning ecosystems, and that biodiverse regions can better support food production, healthy soil and air quality, and can foster healthy connections between humans and wildlife. And whereas pollinator species are in decline due to the habitat loss and the use of pesticides causing species like the monarch butterfly to decline significantly in the past 25 years. Whereas butterflies are extremely beneficial, pollinating many cultivated flowers and crops and serve as an indicator species for the ecological health of large geographic areas. Whereas in December 2020, the US Fish and Wildlife Service announced that the listing of the monarch butterfly as an endangered or threatened under the Endangered Species Act is warranted, and the beloved brown and orange monarch butterfly is now a candidate for protective measures under the Endangered Species Act. Whereas the town of Newcastle continues to explore environmentally friendly infrastructure, legislation, and practices with guidance from experts to best support local ecosystems and provide such benefits for our residents, and whereas the town of Newcastle renews its commitment to support local, state, and national efforts to protect, restore, and conserve habitats for pollinators as demonstrated in our recent beekeeping legislation and our planting of food sources for pollinators such as the monarch butterfly, as well as foster a greater connection between residents and wildlife. And now therefore be it resolved that I, Lisa Katz, Supervisor of the town of Newcastle,
We can just say the town board here.
the town board, with enthusiastically support and recognize the wonderful work done by residents during Earth Week to protect monarch butterflies and other native plants and pollinator species, and encourage all residents to participate in community activities that support and celebrate pollinator protection.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and we just need that one resolution for Whippoorwill.
Yeah, it's in the packet, do you have it in the packet, it's the third page of the packet?
Lisa, can I say one quick thing after the monarch butterfly resolution?
Sure.
So just wanted to give a shout out, Saturday was the Earth Day Festival at the train station, it was really terrific. And since we're just adopting this monarch butterfly resolution, you know, the Bee City resolution obviously was one of the things that spurred this. And if you had a chance to go there, and if you didn't have a chance, certainly make it a point to go next year. But we had some incredible presentations from Greeley and Seven Bridges students. Gabe Paley, who did the Bee City presentation before the board was there. Ava Peters did a presentation on native species. Regina Velasco and Sarah Asa organized the bike-a-thon. And then a Seven Bridges student, Sakit Radia Rugu, discussed the plight of birds and the declining number of birds in the population. So really an amazing event, and kudos to everyone involved, the Conservation Board, the Sustainability Advisory Board, and the Rec Commission.
And I just wanna add, Chris, that I was so impressed that so many of the participants were young, not young students, but older high school students, and that our youth are very, very engaged in the activities of this town. So it was a wonderful day, and I urge everyone to consider going next year if they didn't go this year.
Agreed. Luckily, they're juniors, so they can do it
That's
again.
right.
Do it again, right? And train others to do it. Can I do the
Yep.
resolution? Okay. Let's see how long. Okay. Whereas there are presently pending before the New York State Supreme Court, County of Westchester, a series of tax certiorari proceedings entitled Matter of Whippoorwill Country Club versus Board of Assessors et al. Whereas these proceedings contest the real property tax assessments of tax parcels that comprise a portion of the Whippoorwill Club grounds situated in the town of Newcastle, which are designated as section 101.18, block 2, lot 1, section 101.18, block 3, as more further described in the agenda. Whereas these proceedings contest the real property tax assessments of the Whippoorwill Club parcels as established annually on the Town of Newcastle assessment roll in the years 2016 through 2021. And whereas companion proceedings have been commenced by Whippoorwill Club Inc. contesting the 2016 through 2021 assessments established by the Town of North Castle upon a portion of the Whippoorwill Club grounds situated in the town of North Castle. And whereas proposed terms of settlement have been formulated disposing of the proceedings commenced against both the town of North Castle and town of Newcastle. And whereas the settlement terms pertaining to the proceedings commenced against the town of Newcastle are subject to the approval of the town board. And whereas the town board has obtained the advice and assistance of counsel, Keenan Bean, with respect to the proposed terms of settlement and duly considered same. And whereas under the proposed settlement terms, the 2016 through 2021 assessments of the Whippoorwill Club parcels are to be reduced as specified below, resulting in town and special district tax refunds in the projected amount of $79,028.16. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board authorizes the settlement of these proceedings to adjust the contested 2016 through 2021 assessments of the parcels identified herein as further described in the agenda. And be it further resolved that counsel for the town of Newcastle, Keenan Bean, together with the town administration, is authorized to undertake such actions as are necessary to effectuate the settlement, including the execution and submission of a consent judgment to the court for purposes of entry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Jill?
No, I've just been talking to Sabrina. I think we have a tentative date of May 17th for our joint meeting.
Perfect, great. Okay, great, that was fast, thank you.
We don't waste any time.
All right, so that being said, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you.